Cheesy Bites.
Thanks to the Ninja Turtles, Cheesy Bites are back. Try one now for $11.99 or get any other pizza for just $11 online. And see the Ninja Turtles in theaters August 8th. Pizza Hut.
I really did debate about which bandana to wear for this one. I really did. But given my view of the movie, it didn't quite matter. So instead I decided to wear this t-shirt to reflect my high respect for the live-action movie from 1990. Oh man. Revisiting this one gave me quite the trip down angry memory lane. And the more I think about it, the inclusion of this one on display very much summarizes how I feel about today's flick. Mirage Studios was the comic book company that Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird formed, which also housed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For the longest time, they worked under that studio with anything that was, at best, turtle-related, but things changed in 2002. Eastman's ownership of the Turtles were purchased by Laird and Mirage Studios, and the two of them maintained the property and corporations of the Turtles. From what I understand, Eastman wanted to move on to other projects and didn't want to do anything Ninja Turtles related. Even when the buyout was finished in 2008, Laird felt the same feelings and sold the franchise along with Mirage Studios, the independent company that was the home to the Turtle Brothers for a long time, straight to Viacom and Nickelodeon in 2009, while Laird still retained the right to create and publish some comics of the Turtles once in a while on the side. And ironically, this happened around the same time when Marvel Comics was being purchased by Disney. I mean, this was a big deal. An independent comic book company was being purchased by a larger corporation. Methinks some folks are being a little more concerned about seeing Spider-Man and the Hulk appear at the Magic Kingdom in comparison to wondering what the future for the Turtles were going to be. However, what did get attention was after Paramount and Nickelodeon bought Michael Bay's studio Platinum Dunes, it was announced a new live-action reboot was going to be made in their direction. The new film was going to be titled Ninja Turtles, and just have the Turtles be from an alien race. Fans were pissed. No, that's putting it nicely. They were raged over how it departed from the source. It was a common thing back then. If something didn't stick to the original format, die-hard followers would get mad about it. And it didn't help either that an original draft of the script was leaked, and many bickered about the drastic changes like the Turtles coming from an alien dimension, Shredder being a government agent with blades growing from his body, and Raphael being the comic relief. Thankfully, this draft was made before Bay's studio joined the project, and so many people behind the scenes urged this was not the direction they were going in. At this point, did the anger even matter? This movie was already getting a lot of pushback on rewrites, and to avoid competition with Transformers 4: Age of Extinction. They had one chance to get it right since 1990. And man, they did not even get close to it. I will say off the bat, I like the opening prologue. It's stylized and fits in with the tone of the original Eastman and Laird comics. It's exposition heavy, but it's cool in its own way. Little did I know it was more honorary to the franchise compared to what we get later on in the flick. April O'Neil is played by Megan Fox, who is a reporter that is forced to do recreational pieces, but she would rather investigate the Foot Clan problem in New York. From a writing standpoint, some of this works for the first half, but it falls apart later when the character makes some pretty dumb decisions. I understand the past incarnations of April would be hungry for a story, but how desperate do you have to be? This one tries to record a hostage situation while being held hostage. I know reporters put their own lives on the line for a story, but that's too much. Or how about this scene during the snow battle where she tries to record the fight?
Make sure you're getting everything!
There are times when someone is in a dire situation, and the ultimate choice is surviving the moment or making a Kodak moment. But unless you are covering a hurricane or in between some big international war, do me a favor. Put the damn phone down and focus on your survival. I also like this one scene I still cringe at where she tries to prove to her boss, played by Whoopi Goldberg, that the Turtles are trying to stop the Foot Clan. She doesn't show her picture of them on the rooftop like she later does, or footage of the Turtles as babies showing off their powers. No. She just acts like a nutty conspiracy theorist that's sleep-deprived, and shows her boss footage of the Turtles being fed pizza.
Where is fancy bread? In the heart or in the head?
It also doesn't help that Megan Fox's acting is not the best. I mean, granted, she was okay in the first Transformers movie, but since then, I can't quite recall a moment when I actually saw her give a solid performance. Then again, this is coming from someone who never quite understood her popularity as an actress and a sex symbol. Yeah, you horn dogs take that. I'm sticking to Raquel Welch here. In this version, they have the Turtles and Splinter be more connected to April by having them as lab animals she befriends as a kid. They're given a mutagen as part of some science experiment, but the lab is destroyed and April saves them. So I guess they try to combine the reporter element from the show and the lab assistant elements from the comics, which I'm okay with. Yet when we get to the Turtles...
Whoa, chill. It's just a mask. See? Don't freak out. Right?
You are probably wondering what I am thinking right now. And I can sum that all up in a simple song. It goes a little something like this. It's a little familiar, and it's certainly memorable. 1 and 2 and... Well, what can I say about their designs that already hasn't been said? I'm all for new looks. I am. Look at how many times they changed Godzilla. Each one is unique, but doesn't take away from the original version. Here, the Turtles are way too hideous to gaze at. Yeah, the other designs from the other movies and projects were more in tune with the 1987 cartoon, but they didn't look this bad. On a positive note, I kinda like the idea of them using toss-away clothing and garbage as samurai gear. Yet all of that stops when I gaze into the creepy and ugly eyes of what looks like an overcooked Sontaran from Doctor Who someone left in the microwave while injected with steroids. Perhaps the one that gets it the worst is Splinter. Just what the hell did they do to him? It's like they took a naked mole rat and tried to glue yak hair on him. It also doesn't help we get treated to various close-ups of these characters. It's bad enough to look horrible from a distance, but do I need to see them up close and personal? That's another thing too. The cinematography is weird. Not in a stylized way, but just weird. There's shaky cam in places when it doesn't need to be, lens flare, oversaturated colors that make everyone almost look like a Jersey Shore Oompa Loompa, action scenes filmed with too much close-ups, and not enough medium shots for us to take in the scene or the environment. Man, it's almost like Michael Bay directed this movie. But he didn't. Credit goes to Jonathan Liebesman, who was a contributor for a good majority of Platinum Doom projects, including the Texas Chainsaw Massacre prequel. Who, fun fact, he was not the first choice. Originally it was going to go to Brett Ratner. All I can say is this. Pick your poison, folks. As for the performance of the turtles themselves, they are alright. They fit in with their designated personalities fine. Instead of animatronic suits, they were all motion capture on live sets. Most of the actors who perform the physical motion of the turtles get to voice their counterpart character, with the only exception being Leonardo. While Pete Polozek does the physical work, it's Johnny Knoxville that does the voice.
How many times do I have to tell you? We don't break things, we fix them. Donnie already wiped the phone, genius. Problem solved, moving on.
It kind of feels weird at first to hear the leader of the Jackass team voice the role, but it settles in afterwards. Jeremy Howard as Donatello is fitting for the tech feel. I enjoyed Alan Richardson's performance as Raphael, despite hearing about his poor working conditions during the movie. And while Noel Fisher doesn't annoy me as Michelangelo, it's kind of forgettable.
So guys, if it wasn't already obvious with that girl, dibs.
Yet, having Michelangelo develop a crush for April O'Neil and hit on her? That's pretty awkward. Doesn't help either that this is one running joke they completely stretch throughout the movie and completely drag it into the ground.
Oh, she's so hot I can feel my shell tightening. Safe place for you to hide, and if you get thirsty, I got a secret stash of Orange Crush behind the fridge. Don't tell Raph. You see me back there? Guys, I totally talked to a girl. Shut up! My girlfriend's totally the Hogo Shah. If I don't return, remember me, April. You can always find me. In here. I can't stand it, but
I love you! It'll never work!
Then there's Tony Shalhoub voicing Splinter. This is one casting choice I don't know how to feel about. It feels too weird for me. So, who is the baddie of this one? Well, turns out it's not Shredder. Or at least that's how it was planned. Will Fichtner plays Eric Sachs, the CEO of a company that plans to use the mutagen from the turtles to cure sick people, right after they send a deadly toxin out into the New York atmosphere so they can tell people they have a cure for it.
And I'm gonna be rich. Like, stupid rich.
Croc?
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Fair enough. Moving on. Like I said, Eric Sachs was supposed to be Shredder, but it was changed midway in production to have Sachs be the adoptive son of Shredder instead. Methinks some executive realized the idea of a white guy donning the armor of a character that has been Japanese in some prior incarnations was a bad idea, despite the movie being too far into production. It also doesn't help when Sachs is clearly the main antagonist of this version, as intended given his connection to April was established by having her father work for his company. Instead, they try to fix that halfway into making the film by adding a Shredder that is always kept in the dark, and we never see a good view of his face. And you can very much tell this was a late addition given how the movie is edited, with easy-to-spot ADR cutaways.
Sax is not a friend. His soul has been poisoned by the influence of a dark master. The Shredder.
And how cheap the sets look when Sachs talks to Shredder. Look, Fichtner is great at villainous roles like this, and he's already weird enough in this movie to the point he's kind of fascinating to watch.
I'm a hard guy to impress, but this is just... And we were gonna use rabbits. Can you imagine that?
However, you either do this movie without Shredder or not at all. I'm not saying the original idea of having Sachs being Shredder was good to begin with, but even this revamped change of adding Shredder in doesn't make sense considering he goes after the turtles for reasons. Just reasons in this version. Without a deep connection like Hamato Yoshi, who is a key element in many takes of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's sake for existing here is only because it's not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles without him.
Even near the climax, Sax is easily disposed of in a lame way while the new Shredder is given more attention. It just makes this Shredder's inclusion in this version forced than being naturally added in. Also, kinda love how Shredder is updated to become a human Swiss Army knife. The original Shredders were never this over the top. This one just looks like a Decepticon that wandered onto the set of a Ninja Turtles movie.
Well, everything I have to say, is there anything positive I can relate to in this flick? Well, a few things.
The action scenes are entertaining enough, but they don't feel staged well. There's too many close-ups and quick cuts to take in the environment. The only action scene that actually worked for me was the car chase on the mountain. It's over the top, and some small beats nearly ruin the cool factor, but at least it's refreshing to see something on this nature that proves the evolving tech can create cool scenes like this. And at least the chemistry between the Turtles is fitting. They act like a band of brothers, and the performances are all around fine. Yet the only thing that walks away with much dignity is Will Arnett as Vern, April's co-worker.
Come on, it's not that crazy. The animal kingdom is full of... I used to have a dog that could moonwalk.
He's a perfect upgrade from the TV show that tries to help April in this version, and he has some funny moments.
You're a talking turtle.
Yeah, I'm a talking turtle. And you're a human nerd.
Never been accused of being a nerd before, but...
Of all the things to take away from this reboot that I like the most, it's him. The very thing I was holding on to when the movie sucked.
So, I want to put this in retrospective. It was the summer of 2014, and this was one of the worst movie-going experiences I had to date. I saw this in opening weekend, the theater was pretty packed, there were some families in there, and some of the kids were dressed up as the Turtles too, and there was a group of kids that were having a little small birthday party. 50 minutes into that, I saw 10 crying kids being walked out of the theater. Oh, the joy, the noise, the horror. Once the movie was over, I gunned it out of the theater. I didn't stay for the credits or anything that came afterwards. I jumped in my car, went straight home, and it didn't help either that I didn't turn the air conditioner on, so the entire house was hot as an oven, which greatly matched my mood at the time. In short, I really did not like this movie at the time. Really didn't. I went as far as to say it was the worst movie of 2014 for that experience alone. But, looking back on it now and revisiting it just for this marathon, do I still feel the same about it? Kind of. Sort of. Maybe. I mean, looking at it again, it's not the worst thing I've seen in existence. But that still doesn't excuse it being a pretty bad product.
Most of my mood has softened, but not fully. I still hold issue with the way certain characters are handled and how the movie is visually represented. Sure, the first film was dark and gritty, but at least it was fun. Here, the look is too ugly and grim to be appreciated. On top of that, the plot is too mature to be a family movie, and there are moments too juvenile to be seen as a mature film. Sax's plan is to extract the blood from the Turtles as part of his master plan to cure New York with his deadly toxin. Is that the kind of thing you want in a family movie about ninjutsu turtles that eat pizza? Dare I say, it feels too similar to the Amazing Spider-Man reboot, but the constant rewrites and pushbacks on production make me wonder what the original vision was. Regardless, this movie just straight up sucks. But at least I can appreciate some things about it that nearly saved the experience. But compared to the other Turtle movies I had to watch for this marathon, this one leaves me no desire to come back to and see it again. Which, in of itself, is a much bigger crime.
Despite the negative fan backlash and the negative critical reception, guess what? The reboot was a commercial success! For something that was screamed at and picked apart before it was even released to the public, it still fascinates me that it actually made a profit and was successful. But, you know what they say. With big box office business comes a sequel. And truly they would learn from all this and make one afterwards that would be entertaining, enjoyable, fun. A follow-up that fixed the wrong of the first one and made something wholesome, decent, and enjoyable. Tune in tomorrow for the final part of TMNT Movie Week.
No sleep till!
Most important traits of the ninja?
Speed, stealth, and precision.
Hey, buddy!
No! Sleep! Till Brooklyn! No! Sleep! Till Brooklyn!
That doesn't seem so tough. Where's Raph? That went well.
No sleep till...
Starts June 3rd.
Cut.
I'm sorry, that came across super creepy, okay? We will find you though.